Hey traders, Adam Ryan here with Optic Trading. Welcome back to another video. So glad you guys can join me today. Today is all about maximizing gains. How can we make our profits go further? How can we get the most out of our strategy to really make the most money we possibly can as a trader? So that's what I want to touch on in this video. First, I'm going to talk about some of the other ways. There's another way that I see people maximizing gains. Mine's a little bit different. And I think that for beginner intermediate traders, it might be a better approach, but you can try whatever you want and see what's going to work best for you. But this is something really, really interesting. And I think it can really help you maximize your potential as a trader. So the first method I see is that people have multiple setups. So they'll have like their A setup, their B setup, their C setup. And maybe on their A setup, they're going to be risking like 5 times what they would on their C setup, or some kind of, they're going to scale into it much larger. And that can work for some traders, whereas they know their probabilities, they know the reward to risk ratio, they know, hey, I may be right only 50% of the time here, but when I am, it's like a 10-to-1 reward to risk. So I can easily get in that position, take a loss on a larger position. Now there's other traders out there who may find that difficult, because when they're scaling to this huge position, they find that they can't really hold. They can't hold the position that well. And one of the reasons for this is because traders got to understand that you don't know what's going to happen next, right? That's one of the fundamental truths that you need to understand for your mental game to really trade to your full potential. You have to understand that nobody knows what's going to happen next. You don't know what's going to happen next. And when you size in on these positions, you're almost saying like, hey, I know what's going to happen next. I know that this one's going to be a big one. I'm not saying all traders do that. Some traders can trade these just understanding their statistics and the probabilities and go with it. But for other traders, they start feeling like they know this is going to be the big winner. Oh, this is the A setup. This is the one that's going to really hit it home. And that opens the door for a whole bunch of psychological errors, because you think you know what's going to happen, right? Like I go into any trade thinking I have no clue what's going to happen. I don't know. This could be a winning trade. It could be a loss. I have no idea, but I'm going to find out. And I know that over a series of trades, I'm going to be profitable, right? And that's the way you need to think. So instead of scaling in and trying to maximize your gains based on your best setups, I do it on any trade, on any setup. And this is how I get large without taking more risk. Okay, so let's say I have a setup, any setup, whatever your strategy is, you get into the first position. And then when the market moves in your favor, let's say it starts moving up, and then we get a little balancing area, we kind of chop on the chart, and then boom, we take that area out again. Okay, so now I'm looking at this, I'm in a first setup. Second area where I see trapped traders, I see absorption, I see a little balance area, consolidated range on the chart. What am I thinking here? I'm thinking, okay, if we break out this high, there's likely a lot of trapped traders stuck in here, right? So that's gonna add fuel to the fire and kind of start a trend. We can really start pushing higher. So this is where I'm going to enter a second position on full size. So let's say that my first position was 5 contracts, okay? Then on the second one, I'm going to enter another 5 contracts, right? And you may be thinking, whoa, why would you double up like that? Well, I'm not actually doubling up, because what I'm doing is when I'm taking the second position, I'm moving my stop up to lock in all the gains that I've already made, so that I'm actually not risking anything. Or sometimes it's maybe break even or a little tiny risk, but to get double the size is huge, right? So you can really maximize your profit this way. Now, how am I pulling my stop? Am I just pulling my stop anywhere? Right? No, you don't want to do that. You want to put your stop in an area that's going to invalidate your trade idea. Not just some, oh, I don't want to risk this much, or oh, I still want to make $100 on this trade, so put my stop here. Well, the market doesn't care what $100 to you is, right? The market's going to do what the market's going to do. So you have to put your stop at an area that's going to invalidate your trade idea. So for this instance, the market's broken up, it's moving in our favor, we started chopping. Our trade idea is that we think traders are trapped here and they're going to be stuck. Okay, so if they get stuck, their stops are going to get hit and we're going to thrust higher. That's our trade idea. So when I take the position here, what's going to make me wrong? Well, it's going to make me wrong if we start pulling back to the other side, and that's going to tell me, wait a minute, this doesn't look like small traders. This doesn't look like traders getting run over. Who's ever trading here has staying power, because the market moved through them and they're still able to push lower, right? So that's where I want to get out of the trade. Now, if it does what I think it's going to do and we keep continuing, now I'm double size and we're thrusting. And what am I going to do? I'm going to look for another position so I can get in triple size. Same kind of thing. I'm looking for another setup to occur. It doesn't have to be the same kind of absorption setup. It could be many different setups that you use. Like your strategy is different to my strategy. You may have setups that you use, but chances are if you're looking to trade a trend, there's multiple setups within the trend, and there's multiple opportunities to scale in and add size without increasing risk. If you're pulling your stop up and you're already locking in the gains that you made, then you can keep scaling in over and over and over again. You can do this sometimes 5-6 times on a day, scaling in, right? Now, what does that look like for your strategy, right? Because we know that we all trade different strategies. You may have a setup that gets you into a trade, it signals the trend's coming, and then you may see other setups from your strategy within that trend. As long as the setup that's going to lead to continuation, that's a setup that you can take, right? If it's going to be there and it's just a little pop up and you're scalping and then it can move back through, well, you're not going to want to use this strategy because you're going to get knocked out prematurely, right? You're going to want to look for setups that lead to continuation. So the continuation setups, so you can really get large within this trend, and then you get knocked out at the last setup, but you've already scaled in so many times, so you're banking a whole lot and you get really huge. So this is one of the ways that I maximize gains. Let me know if you guys know any ways that you can maximize profits as well. I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Best of luck with your trading, and we'll see you in the next video.